People will often ask me, who are you helping? Why are you a health insurance agent? Don't most people get coverage through their job, through their employer? And you'd actually be shocked at the amount of people who don't receive benefits through their job and who their primary health insurance is not through an employer for various different reasons, different stages of life, different circumstances. And so today we're going to be talking about who I'm typically helping, the demographics, the types of people, the life situations where someone might even need help from a health insurance agent. My name is Colin Wattenville. I've been in the health insurance and Medicare industry since the beginning of 2018, and now I own an insurance agency and have several different brokers working alongside me to help insure people and protect what's most important to them, which is, of course, their health. So who are we helping? Who needs our assistance? Well, a good rule of thumb that I tell people is think about those who are going through major life changes. So I talk to people of all ages for several different reasons. These life changes can be getting married, getting divorced, getting a new job, leaving a job, starting a business, retiring. There's so many different reasons why someone may not or no longer receive or have an offer of coverage through an employer. Sometimes your income falls too low and you end up going on to state assistance, to Medicaid. When you retire, then obviously you usually have, depending on your age, Medicare offered to you, which is health insurance through the government. So there's many different circumstances in which somebody does not need coverage through an employer. It's funny, I remember I was not one of my first clients because I wrote out my mother's health insurance because she had very good coverage through her job until I was 26. And so even though I was in the industry for a handful of years, I actually did not need benefits for myself until I turned 26 and got the boot from my mom's health insurance plan. So that's another example right there. And perhaps one of my favorite types of people to help is those who are just starting a business or who have had a business for a while and who are now trying to go full-time on their business, trying to become what I call a corporate dropout, trying to leave the 9-to-5, and make their business their full-time gig rather than being their side hustle. So helping corporate dropouts is close to home for me because obviously I own a business as well. But I actually got my start in the industry by helping those retire with Medicare. So a lot of times, someone will turn 65 and they're gonna quit working, so they're gonna jump on their government program, Medicare, helping them shop for those types of plans. But then the spouse is maybe a couple years younger, they're 62, so they still need some coverage as well. So when you hit a certain age, you can actually see a lot of people split up their health insurance at that point because it makes more sense financially a lot of times for someone who is eligible for Medicare to get on the Medicare. And then of course the spouse is kind of left out to dry. They no longer have the great coverage that their spouse has, so then they need help figuring out their best option from there. You also bump into a lot of people from a handful of specific industries that are kind of notorious for not offering benefits. Things like food service, restaurants, bars, those sorts of things. A lot of cosmetology, so salons, makeup artists, nail places, all sorts of those kind of esthetician type places, and hospitality industries with food. Those don't usually offer any sort of benefits, even though some of them do have many employees, just because the cost is so prohibitive for those types of workers and on the incomes, the salaries that those employees have. And another thing that I'm actually always reminding people of is that even if you are at a job that offers you health insurance benefits, and other coverage, you don't have to accept that. I just had a conversation the other day, this gentleman and his wife, along with their kids, their salary combined isn't the best, it's not the worst by any means, but where I'm going with that is their kids qualified for Medicaid and they are paying together to have their kids on their plan. I think he said $1,400 a month for their family plan when they could save, I forget the exact numbers, but they could save hundreds of dollars a month by only having the employee plus spouse coverage and removing the kids from their work health insurance plan and actually just getting their kids onto state Medicaid. So even if you do have coverage offered to you, you don't have to accept that. If it's too expensive, you can always look at other alternative options, the marketplace, private plans, all those types of products. So you don't have to get coverage through your employer, even if your employer offers coverage. It's also very common nowadays to see a lot of gig workers. They call it the gig economy now. People driving for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, people who are just independent contractors. Maybe they have a couple different clients that they're running social media ads for. So the gig workers, the gig economy, the independent contractors, those people will always exist. You know, these small independent people or even smaller businesses and business owners, they're going to need help with their health insurance rather than getting it through a big employer group plan. So there's actually a lot more customers out there than you would think if you are looking to see who you might be able to help if you're thinking about or already are a health insurance agent. So there you have it. Those are the types of people that I am often talking to and helping out, running quotes for, getting coverage for. And clearly, as you can tell, the opportunities are kind of endless. You know, there's always going to be a lot of people who don't get their coverage through a job. Again, whether that's income-related assistance through the state, perhaps through with Medicaid, or they're retiring and they no longer have coverage offered to them, to their employer. You know, a lot of independent contractors out there, real estate agents, hair salons. There's all sorts of different types of people who are always going to need health insurance who are not going to be receiving it from their employer. Which is another reason why I love this industry, because it feels like I have some pretty good job security. There's always going to be people out there who are turning 26 and getting kicked off their parents' plan. And there's always going to be people who are turning 65 and needing help with Medicare. There's always going to be those who work for companies and work in industries that don't really offer any sort of health insurance benefits. So I feel like that the opportunity is really endless. I stay very busy, always talking to more people who might need my help. So if you're interested in becoming an agent, reach out. We're always bringing on new talent and always hiring. Again, my name is Colin Wattenville. I own Modern Health Solutions. If you enjoy content like this and like seeing and hearing about the health insurance industry, what it's like being an insurance agent, all those sorts of things, then feel free to hit the like button so you continue seeing these videos. Make sure to subscribe to support the channel. Leave your comments and thoughts down below. Share it with a friend or family member, or even just follow us on your favorite social media platform. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.